All right, you guys, so it has been long enough, and let us jump into our topic this evening. This is a Screen Rant article written by Thomas Bacon, the 10 best dark side characters in Star Wars, ranked by threat level. I don't know how you guys necessarily see the landscape, especially when it comes to the dark side, but I can tell you this. This is a pretty decent list. And I will say this, I went through it and I was hoping that I wouldn't be the only person that was going like, hey, where is this guy? There was somebody who I believe should be on this list, is not. So let's get started. All right, number 10 is Iskat Akaris. Few of the Imperial Inquisitors will make this list simply because many of them serve as disposable grunts for Darth Vader. One major exception is Iskat Akaris, the 13th sister, whose story is fleshed out on Delilah S. Dawson's canon novel Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade. There's no salvation for Iskat, eventually cut down by Darth Vader himself because she dared to fall in love with a fellow Inquisitor. Number 9, and this, so okay, I didn't know who this person was. I didn't know Iskat Akaris. But when I looked at number 9, I was like, oh, okay. Now I know that this is a list that I can get down with. Number 9 is Shin Hati. Shin Hati, if you guys would remember, is from the Ahsoka series, Sabine Wren's brutal rival. There's a fascinating chemistry between Shin Hati and Ahsoka's Padawan Sabine Wren, with the two unable to tear their eyes away from one another during many duels. If this is what Shin is like when she starts a vendetta, then she's not someone you want to cross. So number 9, Shin Hati. And again, I was like, oh, I'm liking this list even more. And then this number 8, okay, you guys, I get it. Some of us don't like the prequels, and some of us do. But I think we can all agree that Kylo Ren may have been overrated when it came to power and whatnot. So I am so happy that on this list, and you know Kylo Ren had to make the list because he's a Skywalker descendant, so he had to make the list. And he's on here, and he's at number 8, which I can respect, and as a matter of fact, I am inclined to endorse because it's, you know, the grandson of Darth Vader. I appreciate the fact that they at least acknowledged that he needed to be on there, but not too high. Okay, you guys, number 7, a very good one, Baylan Skoll. And the only reason that I will say that this is a appropriate place for Baylan Skoll and he shouldn't be higher is just because of the fact that we will get no further when it comes to any more story when it comes to Baylan Skoll. Number 6, another Jedi turned Sith, Count Dooku. I think he felt more like a political Sith, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, it seems like, because maybe it was because of his accent, maybe it was because he had a chain and a cape. Like, who does that other than Darth Vader? For me, Count Dooku was never really someone that I saw as very, very powerful. So we'll say that for the most part, we can respect Count Dooku's ranking at number 6 for this particular list. Number 5 will be somebody that's a little more familiar, someone that I feel like they put him here because this was the most diplomatic position on a list of 10 that you could put him, because you can't ignore the guy. It is Darth Maul. Let's just say this, you guys. Darth Maul had a very, very short tenure when it came to the landscape or the scope of bad guys in Star Wars. But man, if you want to talk about the most electric fighter that we saw, obviously Darth Maul would be that. I like him because of the fact that he fights so raw. Like, he will fight with emotion. At number 5, again, a very diplomatic choice here, putting him right smack dab in the middle, we have Darth Maul. Number 4 is Mother Talzin. Only the most powerful Darksiders can be considered rivals of Palpatine himself. The Sith Lord so feared Mother Talzin that he orchestrated her death and the attempted genocide of her Night Sisters of Dathomir before the end of Clone Wars. He knew Mother Talzin's dark side magic meant she could benefit from the dominance of the dark side as well, and he feared her successfully overthrowing his dreamed empire. This makes her one of the most formidable dark side threats in Star Wars lore. I think number 3 might throw you as far as, does he belong at number 3 or should he be higher? Number 3, we have Darth Bane. Now, for those of you guys who are true Star Wars fans, you understand the rule of 2 when it comes to the Sith. There can never be more, right? It's just a master and apprentice. There can never be more. The person who created this rule was Darth Bane. Even though he's canonical, he's been in Clone Wars, we've not had a live action of him. If it wasn't for Darth Bane, we'd probably be still seeing the armies, but he broke it down to the rule of 2, and it just made for a great, great mystery when it came to the Sith. And for me, as a Star Wars fan, I honestly, between Plagueis and Bane, I think they should be higher. So number 3, Darth Bane. Number 2 is the Dark Lord of the Sith. Number 2 we have as Darth Vader. Born the Chosen One, Darth Vader should have been the most powerful Sith Lord of all time, but his potential was reduced when he was defeated by Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That didn't make him any less dangerous, though. Darth Vader redeveloped his lightsaber form to compensate for his cybernetic limbs, and he adopted an unusual dual-phase lightsaber that made him unpredictable in conflict. He may not have been able to channel Force lightning, but he manifested so many other Force powers. Did anybody notice that Darth Vader never used Force lightning? Because I'll be honest, I read it here, and as I was reading it, I was like, huh, yeah, he never did. Of all the dark side, he choked people. We know that for certain. He choked them with his hand and with the Force. We've all seen that. But did you ever notice that he never used the Force lightning, which is like one of the most characteristic things for a dark side user to do? And we never got the pleasure, and I would say pleasure because boy, I would love to see him light somebody up and see the reflection of that in his beautiful mask. Number 2 was Darth Vader. With the final top spot, the number 1 spot on this list, who is Darth Plagueis? Just joking, it's not Plagueis, it's Palpatine. They got Darth Sidious, Lord Palpatine, here at the number 1 spot. And so I will read you again what they wrote in order to justify this. It says, the greatest villain of the entire Skywalker saga, Palpatine essentially became the dark side personified, a rapacious, consuming force who sought only to dominate and destroy. Darth Bane may have reinvented the Sith Order, but Palpatine, played so well by Ian McDiarmid, and I will agree with that completely. He was played beautifully by Ian McDiarmid, considered himself to be the culmination. I am the Sith, he sneered at his granddaughter Rey in the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. There has never been a Sith Lord as dangerous as Palpatine, and the entire galaxy hopes there never will be again. A Machiavellian master planner, Palpatine was the architect of Order 66, and he ruthlessly recreated the galaxy in his own image. He created a regime where it was only possible to survive by embracing darkness, and then he personally reaped the reward. Only Luke Skywalker's redemptive love for his father could defeat Palpatine, proving him to be Star Wars' greatest and most dangerous dark side villain. And yes, he was rapacious.